Today what I'm going to be doing is showing you how to make some really simple but very effective clocks. Now I always find that clocks fly off the shelf. There's not a problem with them because they are so practical and they're great profits as well. I'm going to be making fairly smallish clocks. I wish I'd got a larger mold, but my larger mold for a clock is actually so damaged now, it's been used so many times, that I need to order a new one. Now I've got several molds of this size. I've got this one that gives great numbers. I've got this one as well, which you can paint on without any problem, and it's ideal for resin. It's made of like a very firm silicone rubber, but this one has got narrow letters, and then or numbers, not letters. And then I've got this one, which has got the larger numbers in it. And the reason I've chosen the larger numbers is because I'm going to be using Resincrete today to make the clock. They make great clocks, but there are a few things that you need to make sure that you do when you're making it to ensure that it is as sturdy and works the best. It's also a cheap way of doing it. And you may be wondering why I've got these molds out, and that is something I'm going to show you in a little while. I'm going to make 3 clocks today, and I'm telling you, you're going to be blown away by them and how easy it is to do them. So always remember, when you're mixing up Resincrete, you need 100 pounder to 30 water. So I'm measuring mine in grams. Now these molds actually don't take an awful lot to fill. Start with, I'm doing 200 grams of Resincrete for 60 grams of water. There we go. And I'm using the Resincrete that cures up in 30 minutes. Now, it's not going to be fully cured in 30 minutes. It's still going to be damp, and we want to ensure that there's no water in this when we go on to the next stage. But in 30 to 40 minutes, you should be able to demold it. Now, I have been using now a fork to mix my Resincrete for several months, and it is the best way to mix it without getting any lumps. So now that's mixed, we've got quite a few bubbles in that, but again, I'm not worried about the bubbles because they will come to the top anyway. Going round, and I'm filling my letters first with this because I want to try and avoid getting any trapped bubbles. And by filling up my letters first, it should help avoid any of those bubbles. Now I've got that filled, pour this over, fill up the rest of the clock. There we go. While that's filling up, what I'm going to do is put some in these little molds that I've got, and I'll show you why in a minute, because I find that a themed clock sells even better than just a plain clock. And all these molds are easily available. I'll link them in the description below for you if you want to get hold of any of them. So all I've used so far is 200 grams to fill all these up with, and they're nice and full. What I can do now is leave these for 20 minutes or a little bit more before I demold them. I need to recast this particular clock face 2 more times before I go ahead and then put them together. So these should be cured enough now to be able to demold them, but remember, you need to be so gentle with them because they're still going to be damp inside and still quite fragile. Peel the mold away from them carefully. There we go. So we've got a full dragon there. And then you need to leave them to cure up and completely dry out before you do the next stage. Now you can leave that for a couple of days to do that, or like me, I'm going to pop mine in the curing box that I've got for a couple of hours, and that should dry them out. Let's check the clock again, being very gentle. There we are. Look at that. Beautiful, lovely and thin, and not a single bubble anywhere that can be seen. Little donut, yeah, that's fine. Pour, that's fine. And the coffee mugs, they've come out with all the detail on them as well. So I'm really pleased with those. I also had a little bit of Resincrete mixed up that I wanted to use, so I've made some little doggies that I may use as well. So I'm going to pop these now in my curing box, let them cure up for at least 2 hours in there, and then I can show you what I'm going to do next. Well, these are all cured now, and they've been in my drying box now for 3 hours, so they're fully cured all the way through. And what I need to do is stick my pieces onto the clock faces. It's not always easy to glue Resincrete to Resincrete using a glue or a wood glue or something like that, because it doesn't tend to stay there. It absorbs into it. So what I've found is the best thing to use to glue Resincrete to Resincrete with is Resincrete. How many times can I say Resincrete in one sentence? So all I do to do that with is I mix it up. I don't actually measure this out. I mix the Resincrete up with a little bit of water until I get a consistency, I suppose, of a thick cream. A heavy cream, they call it in America. We call it kind of double cream in the UK. Yeah, so that's the consistency that I'm looking for there, like that. And once I've got it to the consistency I'm looking for, then I take a brush and brush it on the back. So I'll put some on like that. Now this will soak into this Resincrete quite quickly and dry. So you need to move fairly quickly with this. And then I put it where I want it to be. And then all I do is push that down onto there. And then that should stick on there. Leave it for 3 or 4 hours to make a really good stick, or put it in your curing box and then you're good to go from there. So that's how I shall do all of those. Now, if you're finding it absorbs too quickly into your Resincrete as you're trying to work with it, get yourself a brush and brush on a little bit of water first, then brush on your Resincrete. And that little bit of water will help protect that from drying out really quickly, and then push that on where you want it. So this one is dry now, and as you can see, I've got a drill here, and the reason is I need to drill this through here. Now, I always tend to do this a bit too early, and sometimes I have broken this, but I can take this back off again and then put another dragon on if that is the case. So what I've got is a drill bit the size that I want, and all I'm going to do is slowly, and I want to do this really slowly, drill through it. See, I did break a bit off it there, which is a bit of the tail, but actually, I'm not too worried about that because I don't think that has in any way spoilt that, and the hands are going to be in there anyway. All I'm going to do is just take a sharp knife and even that out a little bit like that, and now you wouldn't know. And now I'm going to put some scales in it as well. There we go. So that you've still got the dragon in there, but we can put the actual clock hands through it, not a problem. The other two will be fine because they're either side of the hole. And now what we've got to do is paint them. Now, if you don't want to paint them, then you can sell them like this with the clock bits and sell it as a little kit. But I actually find that they go really well if you do paint them. And you don't have to be over detailed on them when you're painting them. All I'm going to use is acrylic paints to paint these with, but before I paint them, I am going to seal them with the gloss sealer. Now, I've found that you get a much stronger result with the paint if you've used the gloss sealer, and it goes on much easier. I'm only going to put one coat on because that's all I need to do. And this stuff is brilliant because it also makes your items waterproof if you're making vases and things like that. It's really good. Now I'm going to use a combination of a sponge to put this on to get it everywhere, and also a brush. And I'll let this dry for about 2 hours, or you can stick it in your curing box for about 20 minutes and it'll be dry enough to paint. I'll also finish it off with this gloss sealer as well in the areas where I want it to be glossy. So this is all ready to paint now, and I'm going to give it a quick paint. So I'm not going to bore you how I'm going to paint this. I'm going to be using acrylic paints by Arteza and go over and give it a quick paint. Well, finished painting all the clocks now, and I'll show you all 3 in a second. And these are really easy to put together. And the clock mechanisms, I bought 4 of these, I think, for about £6. All you do is you put your hook bit on there first if you're going to hang it on the wall, and I'm going to have these all hanging on the walls. Now I've bought the ones with the long shafts because if not, when you've put added bits on here, they don't always go through. I'm going to put a little rubber washer on there. That just helps keep everything in place. Push that through there like that. Put a washer on if you've got space for a washer. If you haven't, then I don't always use one. And then you get a little nut that you tighten onto there. There we go. So that's nice and tight on there. And then you choose which hands. I've got lots of different hands that I can choose from of all different lengths as well. And for this one, I've chosen these ones because I like the shape of them. And this one is a little bit longer. So all I need to do is cut that one down to where I want it. So there we go. So that's on there. And this is the Coffee Fiend one. So I'm going to have that on there like that, the gold matching up with this. Obviously, I don't want that hanging over there, so I'm going to mark that to where I want to cut it. I'm going to cut it about there. And they cut really, really easily. And then all I need to do is push that bit into there quite firmly. And then you can set the time like that. Pop a little battery in the back, and then you're all good to go. So let me quickly show you all three of them. Now they're painted. They're all finished now. I'm really pleased with them. And I think they will definitely sell well. The clocks always sell well. I do like the little ones. I also like the slightly larger ones as well. These are more fun size, and they cost me £2 each to make, not including my time. And I probably spent, I don't know, half an hour painting them. Doesn't take long at all. The clock mechanism, I got 4 of these for, I think it was £4.99. A little bit of resin-crete and some paint. I will get a battery for each of them. The dragon one is my favourite. I put chameleon flakes over the dragon. I thought he worked really, really well. And I used chrome markers and acrylic paint for the rest. So I would probably sell these. I would sell these for £12.99 each. And they sell really easy at that price. The larger ones I sell for more. And when I make the really big ones that I made on my other channel, then those I do for about £75 each. But they really are popular. Hope you've enjoyed this. Great use for resin-crete, nice and light, hang on the wall, no problems at all, and give you brilliant detail as well. I will link everything I used in the description below, especially the clock mechanism, because sometimes you can buy 7 of them for £8, which is hardly anything. Check out my other channel. I'll link the video here on the clock that I made on that one. It was a big clock. It was so popular and it was so easy to make, really effective. Boot that like button, hit that subscribe button. But most of all, enjoy your resin. Take care. Bye.